Hi everyone, I'm Aria from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a new item, the Lucky Fish Pillow. This pillow is divided into several parts. The main part, the mouth, the fins, the tail, the eyes and decorative strands. Make these parts in order. Then sew on the decorative strands. First, let's learn the main part. We will start from foundation chain. Follow the magic ring, form a loop, stuff with fiber fill while crocheting. After crocheting is finished, sew the opening together. Before crocheting, let's take a look at the chart. In the chart, our plus number indicates the round number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows the stitches needed for crocheting this current round, including increases and decreases. The total stitches column indicates the total number of stitches after completing this round. The main part uses X single crochet, V single crochet increase, and a single crochet decrease, chain stitches and slip stitches. Now watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. To make it easier for everyone to see clearly, here I'm using cotton yarn for demonstration. For specific yarn, color scheme and hook size, please refer to the detail page of our product and paper instructions. Take the corresponding hook size. The cast on is 9ch, which means starting with a chain stitch, chain 9 stitches. Leave a little yarn tail, and make a slip knot. This starting knot doesn't count as one stitch. Gently tighten. Begin crocheting chain stitches. After completing, check the stitch count. One braid represents one stitch. The original yarn isn't very clear. You can see a seam in the middle. On both sides of the seam, there will be one strand each. These two strands are the braids of the chain stitch. Note that the loops on the hook are not included. This completes the cast on. Move on to the first round. R1 is second to last, SC2 in 1, 6 single crochets, SC2 in 1, times 2. Second to last means starting crocheting from the second to last stitch of the foundation chain. Parentheses indicate a group. The number after times shows how many times to repeat the pattern. Insert the hook into the top loop of the second to last chain stitch for half loop. It looks like this single strand. Make a single crochet increase, which means crocheting 2 single crochets here. First, make the first single crochet. Place a stitch marker on the first stitch to mark it. If you don't have stitch markers, you can use safety pins or paper clips from home instead. Now let's see how the first single crochet looks after completing it with the original yarn. The stitch creates a V-shaped loop texture similar to a braid. This texture is similar to the chain stitch loop. There's a seam in the middle. Each side has a strand of yarn. This is the stitch of the first single crochet. Also, underneath the front strand of yarn, there will be a small indentation hole. Insert through the small hole. Pick up the 2 strands above. This picks up the first single crochet stitch. Place a stitch marker on this single crochet stitch to mark it. Make another single crochet in the same stitch. Single crochet increase completed. The number before X indicates how many single crochets to make. Here, work 6 single crochets evenly. Here's something to note. Due to the special yarn, your hands might get a bit tired while crocheting. When your hands get tired, you can change your grip to relieve it. Here are 2 ways to hold the hook. The first way is like holding a pen, as shown now. The second way is like this. Place your hand above the crochet hook. Hold the hook gently. Continue crocheting. Once done, make a single crochet increase in the last chain stitch. This completes the stitch pattern inside the parentheses. Crochet the stitch pattern inside the parentheses once more. In the last chain stitch, make a single crochet increase. This way, you'll have 4 single crochets on the last stitch. Slightly rotate the piece. Continue to pick up the left side chain. The remaining 2 strands, work into each stitch in sequence to make 6 single crochets. While crocheting, place the starting tail above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. When you reach the first single crochet increase position, 1 single crochet increase has already been made here. Continue to pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain. That is, the insertion point for the first single crochet increase. Make a single crochet increase. Adding to the first single crochet increase, a total of 4 single crochets have been made here. You can check the stitch count. Count these stitches. 1 stitch equals 1 stitch. The total number of stitches for each round is indicated in the corresponding chart. I won't mention this again later. Now let's see what the first round looks like when completed with the original yarn. When counting stitches, you can also count these raised bumps on the surface. 1 bump equals 1 stitch. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. That is, make 1 slip stitch at the stitch marker position. The slip stitch is not indicated in the chart. When actually crocheting, you need to work a slip stitch at the end of each round. This is the chain formed by the slip stitch. The slip stitch doesn't count as 1 stitch and needs to be pulled tight to avoid accidentally adding extra stitches later. This completes the first round. Note that the excess yarn tail from casting on should not be cut off yet. Leave it in place. We will consider the side without yarn tails as the right side of the fabric piece. When crocheting later, always keep the right side facing you. Now crochet round 2. First work 1 chain as the turning chain for single crochet. This turning chain isn't marked in the chart. Actually, when crocheting in rounds, you need to work a turning chain at the beginning of each round. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. Then work the stitch pattern in parentheses. Make a single crochet increase in the first stitch of the previous round. Later, to conveniently find the slip stitch position, mark the first stitch of each round. Continue making single crochet increases on the left stitch. Six single crochets. Two single crochet increases. This completes one repetition of the stitch pattern in parentheses. Repeat once more. 2 single crochet increases. Six single crochets. Two single crochet increases. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pay attention. After each round is completed, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch, and tighten. This completes round 2. Continue crocheting round 3. Make 1 beginning chain. I'll emphasize again. Each round must begin with a beginning chain. I won't repeat this instruction later. At the insertion point of the slip stitch from the previous round, make a single crochet increase. Make a single crochet increase in each left stitch. 10 single crochets. Two single crochet increases. Repeat once. 2 single crochet increases. Ten single crochets. Two single crochet increases. Join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pull tight. Round 3 crocheting is finished. Rounds 4-15 in the chart below. Have a simple crocheting method? The stitch techniques used have been demonstrated in detail before. Just follow the stitch pattern order in the chart. Repeat the corresponding number of times. Let me explain here. In the chart are 1 4 to 15. Work even 6 8x means starting from round 14. 1 single crochet in each stitch. Each round has 68 stitches. Continue crocheting until round 15 is finished. When encountering this format later, the meaning is the same as above. As you crochet, don't forget to make the beginning chain and slip stitch. A raised texture on the right side represents 1 round. Count the rounds by counting these raised textures. Working even will cause the fabric to naturally curl. Adjust the fabric so the right side faces out. Pay attention when round 4 is completed. Measure the dimensions. Compare with the dimensions in the pattern. If there's a significant difference in size, adjust your tension and recrochet. Check the stitch count after each round. Everyone follow the chart to finish these rounds. Up to this point, rounds 4 through 15 have been explained. Next, for round 16, work even for 29 single crochets. The swatch here is already completed. Next, work a single crochet decrease. Let's take a look first. The 2 loops of the stitch. The one closer to you is called the front loop. The other one is the back loop. First, insert into the front loop of the first stitch. Then, insert into the front loop of the left stitch. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remain. Yarn over, and draw through in once. Single crochet decrease completed. This method of picking up only the front loops for decreasing is called invisible decrease. Using this technique, the gaps between stitches are smaller, creating a more delicate fabric overall. Continue crocheting 6 single crochets. Complete 1 single crochet decrease. Crochet hook through the front loops of 2 adjacent stitches on the left side. Yarn over. Draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. Single crochet decrease completed. Work single crochets evenly into the remaining stitches. Complete this round. Join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. Round 16 is completed. For the remaining rounds, refer to the pattern. Check the number of stitches after each round to avoid extra or missed stitches. In the final rounds, stuff while crocheting. Fluff up the fiber fill before stuffing. Stuff evenly and firmly. Not too hard is fine. After completing the final round, leave about 30 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Thread the yarn tail onto a darning needle. Press the closing stitches flat symmetrically. Sew up by picking up stitches like this. After sewing is done, weave in the tail several times. Cut off the excess yarn tail. This completes the main part. Use the ending end as the tail, the other end as the head. Next, crochet the scales. Divide it into long fish scales, large scales, small scales and sewing. First, crochet the scales separately. Sew them together after completion. First, crochet the long strip scales. We will start from foundation chain. Crochet along the foundation chain. The new stitch techniques used are E treble crochets, EV treble crochets, and F double crochets. Please watch the demonstration. First, chain 28 stitches. Foundation chain completed. Next, crochet row 1. Starting from the 4th chain from the hook. Pick up the back loop of the chain. Crochet 2 treble crochets. Yarn over twice. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. 1 treble crochet completed. Crochet 1 more on the left side. Yarn over twice. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. Another treble crochet completed. Crochet 1 treble crochet increase downward, that is, 2 treble crochets in the same position. Treble crochet increase completed. Continue with 1 treble crochet. Two double crochets. Three chain stitches. Three slip stitches. When crocheting slip stitches, not to pull too tight. Three chain stitches. 1 double crochet. Later on, you can refer to the diagram. Complete the remaining. Make 1 slip stitch on the last stitch. Leave a yarn tail of about 50 centimeters and cut the yarn. Take the right side of this row as the right side of the piece. Weave in the starting tail along the texture on the wrong side. This long fish scale pattern is completed. Next, work on the large fish scales. We will start from foundation chain. Crochet back and forth along the starting chain. Switch colors while crocheting. New stitch techniques used include T half double crochet and TV half double crochet increase. Please watch the demonstration. Chain 6 stitches to start. Starting chain completed. On the last chain stitch, pick up both loops on the side of the chain. Place a marker to mark the position. Next, on the fourth chain from the hook, pick up the top loop of the chain. Work 2 double crochets. The square brackets going downward in the chart indicate working into the same stitch. Work 4 half double crochets in the next stitch. After completing, slightly rotate the piece. Start from the remaining loop of the second chain. Work 3 double crochets evenly. Note: this is the first chain stitch. You should start crocheting from the adjacent chain on the left side. For the last double crochet, pick up both loops of the chain to crochet. After completing, leave a yarn tail of about 5 centimeters and cut the yarn. Cut off the excess yarn tail. This completes the first row. Now work the second row. Join yarn at the last stitch of the previous row. Chain 1 is beginning chain. Turn means to flip the work. Turn the work over. Work 1 single crochet at the yarn joining insertion point. Place a stitch marker to mark. Because this is on the wrong side of the previous row, the stitch corresponds to the top left braid. Continue with 1 single crochet on the left side. 1 half double crochet. Then work 4 half double crochet increases in a row, which means working 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. After completing, work 1/2 double crochet, 2 single crochets, the last single crochet, work at the stitch marker position. Row 2 is completed. Continue to crochet row 3. Make 1 chain stitch first. Then turn the work piece. Starting from the bottom left stitch, refer to the chart to complete this row. After crocheting is finished, leave a yarn tail of about 30 centimeters and cut the yarn. The right side of this last row will be the right side of the entire fabric piece. Row 3 crocheting is finished. One large fish scale motif is also completed. Tuck away the excess yarn tails along the wrong side of the fabric. Follow the same method. Crochet all the required large fish scales, then crochet the small fish scales. The technique is similar to the large fish scales. We will start with a foundation chain. Work back and forth along the starting chain. Switch colors as you crochet. Follow the demonstration method shown earlier. Refer to the chart. Crochet all the required small fish scales. Up to this point, the small fish scales are explained. The fish scales crocheting is completed. Next is the assembly. Place the main tail part on the left, with the dented side facing down. All fish scales should be right side up. Arrange them in 3 rows from left to right. Rows 1 and 2 are large and small fish scales. The third row is long fish scales. Refer to the chart for specific placement order. You can also adjust according to personal preference. The curved side of the fabric pieces all face left. Row 1 has a total of 3 pieces. The left edge aligns roughly with the second to last round of the main part. The 3 pieces are staggered, covering the tail. Row 2 also has 3 pieces, staggered with the fish scales in row 1. The right edge is arranged in a curved shape, slightly overlapping with the fish scales below. Place the long fish scales along the edge of row 2. You can first arrange them like this. After positioning correctly, proceed to sewing. Please watch the demonstration. First sew row 1. Sew from bottom to top in sequence. Thread the needle with the reserved yarn tail. First sew along the edge. After sewing is complete, weave in the yarn tails. This completes one piece of fish scale. Next, sew the second piece. Roughly secure the bottom of the fabric piece. Pay attention to avoid visible stitches on the fabric surface, to maintain aesthetics. The second piece is now sewn. Repeat this process. Sew the remaining fish scales. Up to this point, the fish scales are completed. The side with fish scales is the front. The other side is the wrong side. Next, crochet the mouth. Use the chain ring method for casting on. Follow the magic ring, form a loop, sew together after crocheting is finished. The new stitch technique used is FWDC 3-in-1. Please watch the demonstration. First, cast on. Cast on is 10ch. Join with a slip stitch to the first stitch to form a circle. This means chain 10 to start. Crochet a slip stitch in the first stitch. To form a circle with the chain, leave about 20 centimeters of yarn tail first. Then crochet one chain stitch. On the right side of the current braid, on one strand. Place a stitch marker to mark it. Continue crocheting downward. Check the stitch count after completion. Refer to the previous method for finding the braid. Count the number of strands, correspond to the number of chains. Next, join with a slip stitch in the first chain stitch. Note, here, the cast-on chains should not be twisted. You can first make all the right sides of the chains face up. Match the beginning and ending accordingly. Join with a slip stitch at the marker position. Tighten gently. This completes the cast-on. Next, work the first round. Make one single crochet in the insertion point of the starting chain slip stitch. Place a stitch marker to mark this stitch. On the left side, pick up the back loop of the chain in sequence. Work 1/2 double crochet. DC 3 in 1. That is, crochet 3 double crochets into the same stitch. The 3 double crochets into the same stitch is completed. Continue with 1/2 double crochet. One single crochet. Repeat the pattern once more. One single crochet. 1/2 double crochet. DC 3 in 1. One half double crochet. One single crochet. No slip stitch needed at the ending. Leave a yarn tail of about 10 centimeters and cut the yarn. Pull the yarn through directly. Now proceed with finishing. Thread the yarn tail into the yarn needle. Insert from front to back at the stitch marker position. Then back into the chain where the yarn tail is. Adjust slightly. Finishing completed. Weave in the yarn tail inside the fabric. This way the mouth is done. Now proceed with sewing. Thread the reserved yarn tail into the yarn needle. Pinch the fabric piece symmetrically along both sides of the double crochets. Position the main part with the right side facing you. Place the mouth vertically between the second and fourth rounds below the main part. Center a line with the beginning chain. Pick up the remaining half stitches of the mouth's starting chain. Sew onto the corresponding position of the main part. This way the mouth is sewn on. Up to this point, the mouth is completed. Next, crochet the fins. Divide it into large fins, small fins and sewing. First crochet them separately, then proceed with sewing. Start with the large fin. We will start from foundation chain. Crochet 1 row along the starting chain. Please watch the demonstration. First make 9 chains. The swatch here is already completed. Next, crochet row 1. Starting from the second to last stitch, pick up the back loop of the chain one by one. Make 1 slip stitch. Slip stitches don't need to be tightened. On the left side, continue with 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, 2 double crochets, one ch1 picket. First, make 1 chain stitch. Then pick up the front loop of the double crochet stitch below, and 1 strand from the side edge. Make 1 slip stitch. The ch1 picket is completed. Continue with 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, and 1 single crochet on the last stitch. One slip stitch. Leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters and cut the yarn. The big fin crocheting is finished. We will also take the right side of the first row as the right side of the whole piece. Now crochet the small fin. The technique is similar to the big fin. We will start from foundation chain. Crochet 1 row along the starting chain. Just refer to the chart for crocheting. After crocheting is finished, leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters and cut the yarn. Complete it on your own. That's all for the small fin explanation. After the fins are crocheted, now we'll sew them together. Place the big fin at the bottom, and the small fin on top, with the right side facing forward. Sew them to both sides of the main part. Check the chart for exact positions. You can adjust according to your actual situation. Along the starting point of the fabric piece, sew to the corresponding position on the main part. The method doesn't need to be specific, just secure. Everyone can sew it up themselves. That's all for the fins explanation. Continue to crochet the tail. We will start from foundation chain. Crochet along the starting point. After crocheting is finished, sew to the corresponding position. Please watch the demonstration. First, chain 5 stitches. Starting point is done. Next, on the 4th stitch from the end, pick up the top loop of the chain. Work 1 double crochet, work 3 treble crochets in the same stitch. Chain 3. In the insertion position below, work 1 slip stitch. Chain 3. On the last chain, pick up the top loop. Work 3 treble crochets. One DC. 3 chains. 1 slip stitch. Repeat the previous stitch pattern. Work it once more. Row 1 is completed. Next, place the 2 pieces with wrong sides together like this. Slip stitch around the edge of the fabric. The hook passes through both front and back pieces simultaneously. For chains, pick up the adjacent half loop to crochet. If you can't find the exact spot, just pick a general position to crochet. Stitch position. Pick corresponding stitches on both sides to crochet. Slip stitch position. Pick the 2 strands above the slip stitch to crochet. Slip stitch around roughly like this. The starting tail can be placed between the 2 pieces. After completion, leave about 20 centimeters of yarn tail and cut the yarn. This way the tail is done. The side facing you when making the slip stitch is considered the right side of the piece. The tail crocheting is completed. Next is sewing. Place the tail with the right side facing forward. Align it with the closing position of the main part. Sew between the 3rd to 5th last rounds. This way the tail is done. Now crochet the eyes. Divide it into the white part, the pupil and highlight. First crochet these 3 parts separately. After completion, proceed with sewing. First crochet the white part. Using the magic ring method. Crocheting in rounds counterclockwise. The new stitch technique used is FV double crochet increase. Please watch the demonstration. Take the corresponding color yarn. Magic ring indicates the adjustable magic ring. Here using the adjustable magic ring method to cast on. Then crochet the first round. Make 3 beginning chains. These 3 chains count as 1 double crochet. On the right side of the 3rd chain, place a stitch marker by picking up both loops of the chain stitch. Then crochet 14 double crochets into the magic ring loop. After completion, close the magic ring. Gently tighten the yarn tail. The loop is now tightened. Finish with a slip stitch in the beginning chain, which is the stitch marker position. Pull tight. The first round is completed. Continue to crochet the second round. Make 3 beginning chains. Move the stitch marker to the third chain position. The insertion point of the previous round's ending slip stitch. Then crochet 1 double crochet, plus the beginning chain. 2 stitches were crocheted here. The left stitch is slightly puckered. Pick up the top 2 strands and make a DC 2 in 1. Which means work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. DC 2 in 1 is completed. Pick up all remaining stitches and work DC 2 in 1 correspondingly. Complete this round. Finish with a slip stitch at the marker position. Pull tight. Round 2 is completed. Rounds 3-5 below the chart. Simply follow the chart to crochet. When reaching the last stitch on round 5. I've already completed the sample swatch. Now switch colors. Refer to the current yarn as the original yarn. First work an incomplete double crochet with the original yarn. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The incomplete double crochet is done. Place the original yarn behind the fabric. Take the corresponding color yarn, referred to as new yarn. Hang the new yarn with left hand. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. Complete this double crochet, and the color change is also completed. Join with a slip stitch at the marked stitch. Pull tight. Leave a 50 cm yarn tail and break the yarn. Round 5 is completed. For the next round 6, crochet with new yarn. Weave in the yarn tails as you crochet. Place the previously left yarn tail behind the fabric for now. No slip stitch needed after crocheting. Leave a 10 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. Finish off. Weave in the yarn tail along the wrong side texture. The white part of the eye is now completed. Next I'll explain the pupil and highlight crocheting method using a swatch. The pupil crocheting method is identical to the first 3 rounds of the white part. After completing, leave a 20 cm yarn tail and fasten off. For the highlight, begin with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds for 1 round. Join with the first stitch using a slip stitch at the end. Then leave a 20 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. Refer to the chart and complete each part accordingly. Up to this point, the pupil and highlight explanation is complete. Next, proceed with sewing. First, sew on the highlight. Place the wrong side of the fabric against the right side of the pupil. Sew it onto any position of round 2 of the pupil fabric. The highlight is now sewn on. Next, sew the pupil. Thread the needle with a reserved yarn tail. Place the wrong side against the right side of the white part. The side with the highlight should be positioned at the edge of the fabric. The edge of the pupil fabric should be roughly level with the second to last round of the white part. Sew along the edge of the fabric. The pupil is now sewn on. Finally, place the white part in front of the main part, roughly centered between the mouth and the scales area. Position it like this. Then sew along the second to last round of the fabric. After sewing is complete, tie off and weave in the ends. Everyone sew it on by themselves. Up to this point, the eyes are done. Finally, sew on the decorative lines, in front of the tail, fins and long scale strips. Evenly embroider 2-3 lines. Please watch the demonstration. First, embroider the tail lines. Take a piece of corresponding color yarn about 30 centimeters long. Insert the hook. Insert the needle at any position. Stitch out at roughly centered position below the tail. Leave a little yarn tail at the end. Insert the hook at the top edge. Pay attention not to go through to the wrong side. Carry the yarn across inside the fabric. Embroider one line on each side. Finally stitch out at the starting insertion point. Tie off and weave in the ends neatly. This completes the decorative lines on the tail. Follow the same method for everyone. Finish embroidering the remaining lines. Up to this point, the decorative lines have been explained, and the entire pillow has been explained as well. If you still have unclear parts during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.